why we're here. It's Monday. Recorded on Sunday, but for you it's Monday. 10 a.m. it's coming out. The top 15 MVPs of the last 55 years since the merger. Or 57 years, whatever. It's since the merger. We know that. We're back. We're back with another one. And last time at the end I gave you a format. I'm changing the format on you. Throwing a little audible on the play. As much as I would love to be able to drag this out and make it to like who's here, who's here, who's there. A little long. So originally I was going to go 2 per week. Last week I did 2. I had to explain everything. So the video was a little longer, a little around 20. This time I'm going to go with 3. I'm going to go with a 13. I'm going to go with 12. I'm going to go with 11. After that, I am going to then go with 10 through 6 and 5 through 1. So we got 3 more weeks of this instead of the 9 more weeks we were going to have. I know it's expedited. Not because I want to rush. People are on the edge of their seat. They want to know who's that top 10. They want to know, okay, can I argue with this point? Can I argue with that point? Kyle and I were talking last time. He was like, wait, I need to know who is here because I'm going to need to know who I can talk about. We know how this is. I'm going to be breaking down stats. I'm going to be giving you guys information that you either are privy to, you're not privy to, because you guys didn't know. Whatever. Everyone can have access to it. I just did the research for it. So, at 13, the analytics crew is not going to like this. The analytics crew sees this and is going to be like, why is this here analytically? But you know what? There's something different between breaking down the numbers and actually playing the game, participating in the game. Without further ado, number 13 on the top 15 MVPs since the merger, we've got none other than the answer, Allen Iverson. And it's like, wait, what? Allen Iverson? When you go through the numbers, you're looking at a guy who decided to put up 31, 4, and 5 rounding up for rebounds and assists. 2.5 steals. That led the league. Points per game with 31, as I said, that led the league. 42 minutes a game. That led the league. So he's out there every night, 71 out of the 82 games. He was 50 and 21 when he was on the court. They ended 56 and 26. So he was 70% on the court. They won 68 when he was 68 in totality. They were 5 and 5 when he was also 500 team. Or 6 and 5 rather. Only 19.0 win shares. As we saw last week, we had Giannis, who was 29.2. We had David Robinson, who was 27.3. So we see the win shares is down in per 48. Individually, it was around 11. That is still low for a lot of these other people that you're going to see. PER only at 24. You saw Giannis last week at 30.9. You saw David Robinson also at 29.1. So what did AI do to put himself above David Robinson and above Giannis? All AI did was be a guy who is listed at 6 foot. Everyone probably agrees that he's really around 5'10", and led his team. He ended up leading his team to the finals and actually stealing a game from one of the greatest teams of all time, the 2000-2001 Lakers. He stole one of them over Tyronn Lue. We know the 48 points he put up in game 1 of the finals. One of the greatest finals games you'll ever see. But throughout this year, he put up 15 40-point games. Put up 2 over 50. 18 games over 30. So that is 35 of the 71 games that he went 30 plus. That means every other game that he was playing, he was going 30 plus. Only one game he had between 10 and 14 assists. That's okay. We understand on this team, there wasn't going to be much passing because he was the offense. Theo Ratliff was the next leading scorer at 12.4. He had 3 other people that were even in double figures. That was Dikembe at 11.7 and Aaron McKee at 11.6. And he's at 31. So together, the next three guys are averaging about 35 points a game, and he's putting up 31. So it's taking 3 to even equal 1. Okay? And then we go on here. His true shooting percentage, 51.8. He didn't shoot great throughout the entirety of the year. He had to put up a lot of shots. He was the only player positive in the plus-minus offensively other than Dikembe Mutombo, who was at 1.4. AI was at 5. So essentially what that's saying is every single other person on the floor not named Dikembe Mutombo, who was barely above, when they played, when they participated offensively, they were losing in the box plus-minus. AI was the offense. This team was built around him to be the offense. They semi-hit him on defense, but even then, he wasn't as bad of a defender as you would think. He tried, put in effort, led the league in steals. You can't lead the league in steals and be a terrible defender. You really can't be terrible because that's at least enough effort to read the passing lanes, be able to pick a pocket here and there, be able to help side. Baby big come down, you steal it from the big there. AI put in a bunch of work for this 76ers team. We then go to his best 5-game stretch. Just a swift 43-5 with 3.5 steals per game, shooting 51%, 36 from 3, 85 from the line. That included a 50-point game and 2 40s. The only actual loss was in a 50-point game, went 20 of 40 from the floor. His best game throughout the year, or arguably his best game, 54 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, 20 of 30 from the floor, 67%, 4 of 7 from 3, I believe that's 57.1%, and 10 of 13 from the line. I didn't do the math on this. That's roughly around like 82%-ish, I think. Somewhere around there. Math heads, don't check me on that normally. I'm good off the top. This time, well, his season highs, 54 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists, 6 steals, 2 blocks, respectively. 4 double-doubles throughout the season. He was the All-Star Game MVP. One of a few, I think one of 7 guys, I believe, maybe even less, that was the All-Star Game MVP plus being the regular season MVP. I believe Mike and Shaq are the only 2 to be All-Star Game MVPs. All-Star Game MVP, MVP, and Finals MVP. There might be one that I am forgetting. But AI had a tremendous season. AI had an absolutely tremendous season. How did their season end? As I already said, they lost 4-1 to the Lakers. That team was loaded. We know it. But they had a great season. AI completely deserves this. I understand the analytics are not going to favor this kind of season, but very much deserved. Speaking of analytics, we're going to hop right into 12. Number 12, analytic god. The analytics would say this is one of the greatest seasons ever, so why do I have it at number 12? I'll explain. Number 12 is going to be last year's Nikola Jokic 21-22 MVP season. They ended up the 6th seed last year. This is a season that all of you are going to be familiar with because it just happened. 48-34. Jokic puts up 27, near 14 rebounds, near 8 assists, steal and a half and a block. Shooting 58% from the floor, 33.7 from 3, 81 from the line. Win shares, 29.6. PER, a record 32.8. So, why wouldn't Jokic be one of the greatest seasons ever? We'll get into that in just a moment. I want to give him his praise before I have to talk about the ranking itself. So, with his 29.6 in win shares, the next top 5 was at 25.4. So he was about 4 ahead of them. You'll see there's seasons that are better than this for sure later on. 32.8 PER. Amazing, the best ever. The next top 5 were at 28.1. So even though he was great, he was only 5 above the others. That was Giannis, that was Embiid, that was others. 66.1 true shooting percentage and a 13.7 box plus minus. That is going to be the highest on this list. Analytically, he is phenomenal. He is not just analytically phenomenal, he is a phenomenal basketball player. We all know this. But with Jokic, sometimes these numbers can be a little skewed. So, defensive rating, per se, when you're talking analytics, in 2013-2014, Kawhi Leonard. We know how great of a defender he was. The Spurs, by average, were better defensively when Kawhi wasn't on the floor. Kawhi that year won Finals MVP for the work that he put on LeBron James, plus also putting it offensively. We know it's not true that he is better, that the Spurs were better without him defensively. So sometimes these numbers, as they are telling a story, they're not telling the totality of the story. It's not fully accurate. You have to watch these games, which is where AI comes in, where AI at 13 comes in. So why is Jokic on the list right now? He did so much. He was the first person ever, 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, 500 assists in the season. 19 triple-doubles. He was 6th in points, 2nd in rebounds, 8 in assists, 11th in steals. So he was top 8 in points, rebounds, and assists. Season highs, 49 points, 22 rebounds, 15 assists, 4 steals, 4 blocks, respectively. During the season, he had 19 30-point games. He had 3 40-point games. He had 29 games above 15 rebounds. He had 4 games above 20 rebounds. He had 18 games above 10 assists and 2 games above 15. His best 5-game stretch here. So, averages a cool 38, 16, and 6. These are actually the last 5 games of the season. This is where I know, because during this season, there was a push between Embiid again, Giannis, and Jokic. He really took over this MVP at the end. He was like, this is mine. I'm taking that. Thank you. As I said, 38, 16, and 6, 2 steals, a block, shooting 64% from the floor. He only shot 15% from 3 during this stretch. He was 2 of 13. But, I mean, that's not really a huge deal. He didn't take many per game. Shot about 80% from the line. During this stretch, doesn't even include his best game. Best game, 46 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists, 3 steals, 4 blocks, 16 of 22 from the floor, 3 of 5 from 3, 11 of 12 from the free throw line. Phenomenal numbers. Absolutely incredible season from Jokic. It's top 12 out of the last 57-ish years since the merger, top 12. And I know he's only at number 12, but through these next 11 seasons you're going to see a lot of all-time greats putting up all-time great performances. The counting stats are there. The analytical, deeper numbers might not be there, but you're going to see it right on the face what they did for their teams. So naturally, you're going to favor players who get their team to higher heights. Jokic was only 48 and 34, the 6th seed. They lost in the first round to the Warriors in 5. His next best player was Aaron Gordon. We get that. But coming in at number 11, we've got a guy, an all-time great, 84-85, Larry Bird, is here. Larry Legend. this season led the Celtics to a 63-19 record. They were actually 63-17 with Bird. They lost. They were 0-2 without him this season. He had 8 triple-doubles through the year. Kevin McHale had a 2.0 box plus minus. He was the only person above 1 that wasn't Larry Bird. Larry Bird had an 8.8, so blew out the rest of his team. He led the league in box plus minus. He led the league in value over replacement player. He led the league in player efficiency. He led the league in win shares. He averaged on the season 28.7, put up 10.5 rebounds, 6.6 assists, 1.6 steals, a little over a block. Close to a 50-40-90 season, which he then eclipsed 2 years later. He had 52, 42, 88. As you see here, 23.8 win shares, 26.5 PER. So, what made this season so great? He won 3 straight. He had the 85-86, which is the better Celtics team, but this is his best season in my opinion. Second in points per game, 8th in rebounds. He was second in three-point percentage and 6th in free throw percentage. Season highs. He dropped 60. Had 19 rebounds, had 15 assists, had 9 steals, had 3 blocks. Incredible season there. We move on to his points. 30 points, he eclipsed that 28 times. 40 points, he eclipsed that 8 times. 50, he didn't eclipse. Technically he did, but he didn't get in that 50 to 59. But he did get to 60. He had 10 games over 15 rebounds. He had 13 games over 10 assists. He had 1 game over 15. His best stretch. Averaged just a plain 41, 11, and 6 with a steal and a block, shooting 59% from the floor, only 28.7 from 3, but 93.6 from the line. That included his 60-point game, went 22 of 36. He also added a 48, 15, and 7 during that stretch. An honorable mention game, because his 60-point was definitely his best performance of the season. But an honorable mention game. Just a plain 32, 12, 10 with 9 steals and 2 blocks. He was 1 steal away from a quadruple-double, 13 of 22 from the floor, 2 of 4 from 3, 2 of 3 from the free throw line. That year, the Boston Celtics beat Cleveland in round 1. They beat Detroit in round 2. They beat the Sixers in round 3. But they lost in 6 to the Lakers. Next year, they got their revenge. The 85-86 Celtics, one of the greatest teams of all time. But this is Larry Bird's, in my opinion, best MVP season. His best season's actually 86-87, but Magic took that MVP. So, again, this one's a shorter video too because we're only going over 3 MVPs here. Next week, again, is going to be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then the week after is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So over the next 2 weeks, you're going to get the top 10 MVP seasons since the merger. Next week, you might see the other half of the Warner Brothers podcast here. On the Warner Brothers podcast channel, we're going to be putting out podcasts weekly as we always do. Going to be getting guests on as we normally do for the NBA playoffs, which is the greatest 2 months of sports, in my opinion, in the world. I love the NBA playoffs. There's so much action going on every single day, and then it gets down to every other day. Then the finals come along, and you see where people become legends. There's so much parity in the league right now. There are about 10 teams that I could see getting to the finals and respectively in conferences. There's about 6 teams I could see winning the finals right now. It's going to be an amazing NBA playoffs. I cannot wait for it. This here was the top 15 MVPs since the merger, part 2, giving up numbers 13, 12, and 11. Next week, as I said, 10 through 6, and the week after, 5 through 1. You most likely will see the other Warner brother next week. happy belated for the people who are seeing this now, but I'm recording it, so happy Easter. Enjoy your family. Enjoy the little ones. Enjoy the loved ones. Enjoy your friends. And everybody have themselves a blessed day.